Good morning, Savannah, Georgia. Good morning, Chatham County. Good morning, the state of Georgia. Oh, we are on a beautiful morning here in Savannah this morning, 78 degrees. I tell you, the sun is shining and it feels good outside. This morning, we are here with several of our community leaders. Uh, we have Brother Rick Ellison and Margaret Ellison. And we have Susan. I didn't get Susan's last name, but Susan is with us. Uh, but we're going to talk about some issues that are going on in the city of Savannah. We're talking about the vulnerable communities, and every community in the city of Savannah is a vulnerable community. We've got things propping up in every area wherein they're propping up without any communications with the people who stay there. So right now we're going to let Susan introduce herself, and then we'll come back and let Rick and Margaret introduce themselves. Susan, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Susan Levin. I live in Georgetown.
All right. All right. Rick and Margaret.
I'm Rick Ellison. I'm the president of RUF. RUF is Retirees Unite for the Future, and we live on Wild Heron, uh, near Georgetown. Uh, 110 Wild. Margaret.
Okay, so we live near Georgetown also, and we live down the road from Wild Heron where the issues are.
All right. Now,
I also live on Wild Heron.
okay, good, great. We sent invitation to a couple more people, but they hadn't showed up yet. But as they show up, we'll bring them in if they show up. Okay. One of the things I'm finding out is that apartments are popping up everywhere. We're building apartments. We have a need for living quarters for people, and as fast as we can build them, they're being occupied. So, but where they're being built is the big problem, and how they're being built. So, who wants to tell me what's going on in your area first?
Margaret will speak on it.
Hi. What we have here is at the end of, or toward the other end of Wild Heron Road, close to Shevitz Road, is a large parcel of land that they want to build 350 homes. It would be 50 regular homes and 300 regular homes and 50 townhomes. Now, this area is already getting overcrowded and the traffic is ridiculous. Putting in that many homes just can't sustain in this area. And nobody is listening to us as far as the MPC or the city manager. And, they're saying, oh, yeah, we can do this there. But the community says, no, it's too much. Not only because of traffic, the road is very narrow.
No sidewalks.
There's no sidewalks, no stop signs, and
no crosswalks.
The children that would be coming from this area across the road there have no way to get across Wild Heron to go to the school, which is right there on King George. So we're looking at King George and Wild Heron Road. And they're building these larger homes on very small lots, which is not what we have in this area. And they're saying that that's what people want. Well, I disagree with that. And they're just trying to get as many homes in one area as possible. And we're just not getting our point of view across.
And the other problem is partially we are county, and then our next door neighbor is city, and they're not talking to us. They're not talking to the county. They're not talking to the city, and they're trying to put the homes in before planning is done. They don't. It's 1.4 miles, and they don't have any sidewalks, any crosswalks, any stop signs, and it's just a hazard. And it's 2 lanes all the way. So I'm very concerned. As a matter of fact, the land was zoned for 150 homes. We're not trying to be unreasonable. We're willing to accept 200 homes, but 350 is way too much. And even with the 200 homes, there has to be planning for sidewalks, stop signs, crosswalks, etc. And no one's speaking to the community. I think
We're in the county, and the property owner annexed his property into the city. So you've got also the problem with police and fire, because the fire departments right around this area here are all county. So the fire and police have to come from the city to get over there. So it's not, it's not good for any of us. Now, this is really going to be ruining our
quality
of life, because number one, we're going to have trucks running up and down this road for, it could be a couple of years while they build these homes. And that's not what we signed up for when we moved out here. This is, larger yards, and, we just want the peace and quiet. And nobody can say, hey, what do you think tell me what you think quality of life means, because having trucks running around and all this building going on is not my idea of quality of life. We know there's a shortage of homes everywhere, but they're not listening to the people. They're just saying, okay, we got land, we got a builder, we got a seller, let's put them up. And we've already talked with the city council, we've talked to the MPC, and we're just not getting, they're not listening. They're just basically ignoring us and trying to do what they're doing to push it through. And we're trying to get Curtis Purdy, who is the alderman for the property, because that's city, and A. Whitley, who is the county commissioner for the county, and the MPC, to go ahead and talk, because they can't do a whole lot without certain driveways and all this. They were trying to just do one driveway in and out. So
I got a question.
Uh-huh.
All right, you said that the property was originally scheduled for 150 homes, and you said that y'all would stretch it to 200 homes. Out of these homes that they're building, how many of these homes that you think are there any of them that are going to be affordable for affordable homes?
Well,
No.
When we were at the city council, the statement by the builder, unmitigated statement, said that he could envision a single mother with 2 children in a $300,000 home. That is simply ridiculous. $300,000 home for a single mother. That's just not reality. And that's the start, 300,000.
Yeah, they figured 300,000 for the townhomes, and over that, like 400,000 for the homes. Now, I talked with Curtis, and he said they had real estate people in there, and they would be like more like 250 to 300. But I mean, most of the homes around here aren't that value, and we've got the nice size yards. We got pretty area. Um, so no, none of them are considered affordable. He's there it's there to make the money. And he's taking small properties and he's going to be building big houses, whether it's 2 stories or more. And he also thinks it's not going to affect the schools. Well, if you're building big homes on small lots, you're going to have families moving in. It's not going to be 2 people. So you're going to have a lot of children moving in there, and it's going to affect the schools. It's going to affect how they get to school. How are these kids going to walk to the school? That there's a Georgetown Elementary is right there on King George. It's already the morning and afternoon traffic is already backed up practically to Wild Heron all the way to the 204. Now they built that flyover, and that, of course, really didn't help because you've got the stoplight by that big flag down the road there. So it's still backed up all the way to past Rio Road. So we have lots of traffic. So in the morning, you can't get to the 204, it takes you a half an hour to go just down one road. And then they come through to sneak around. They come all the way down Wild Heron to
I guess you got this.
Grove Point to sneak around to get to the 204. So, we just have so much issues with the traffic and stuff. It just doesn't make sense. Yes, it was zoned for agriculture, and that would say he could put 150 homes in there. But the builder went by themselves to talk to the MPC, and the next meeting they say you can have 350 homes. So we don't know what the builder is telling them because he's just saying stuff. He doesn't have the facts to back it up.
And of course, this is marshland, and we're worried about the flooding going on, and the wild feral pigs that are in that area. They already are concerns because they go across the street and root up family homes, etc.
Yes.
And they just can't control that. We're worried about our flood insurance. Of course, it's going to cause rising of the flood, etc. So we're worried about a lot.
Okay. Let me ask you this. How far are y'all from? I know somewhere out there there's a major railroad crossing.
Not that far. Yeah, it's right down Chevis. And
Yeah,
Chevis
Chevis.
is at the end of Wild Heron.
Okay. With this new construction going on that they are planning on doing, how is that going to affect the railroad crossing?
That is an excellent question.
Well,
I have no idea.
Part of the problem is because it's a shortcut. See, 204 is still a big problem. And people are coming from up 17, Highway 17, from Richmond Hill and across Chevitz. And they're coming up Chevitz Road to get to either King George or Grove Point to get to the 204 entrance. And there are tracks shortly after you turn off of wild heron onto Chevitz Road, and there are railroad tracks there, and we just have so much traffic now. There's no way of controlling the traffic now that we're getting from Richmond Hill, and they're going to be building a lot more in Bradley Point. They're going to be building a ton of homes there now. So we have no control as to all these people cutting through here besides the new build. So that's what we're trying to get them to answer before they start building, as to how is it going to affect everything. You've got one narrow lane each way, and you're lucky if you can go 25 around it because it's so narrow. So we don't want them to say, oh, we have to widen it and we're going to take away part of your yard, or we're going to cut the trees going down the middle of the street. They got beautiful trees down there.
Okay, so all right now, I'm gonna play the devil's advocate here. All right, you say the street isn't wide enough.
Right.
You don't want them to cut the trees down, but the traffic is going to be tremendous. There's going to somehow have to be some give and take in there that we know is coming one way or the other. Which would you prefer?
Well,
give up 5 feet of land or either trees? I mean, I'm just being the devil advocate here.
Right.
Again, I would prefer the builder be up front and talk to the city and talk to the county and let them know that they're developing in here. And then the city and the county can get together and make sure that the sidewalks are there, the crosswalks, the stop signs for safety.
It's not his question. So his question is, which would we want? The trees cut down or the roads widened? Why do we have to make that choice? Why can't we leave it the way it is? Do we have to have 300 homes or 350 homes? And not only that, the owner of the property has an additional portion of property where he's already talking to the MPC about another portion of his property he wants to sell to build other homes. So we're not talking just this portion. We're talking that he's got plans for even more. Now, we don't want the roads wider. I mean, you can maybe straighten them out a little bit, but I do,
let's
hold on for 1 minute. We have to take a commercial break.
Okay.
Hold that thought. I'll be right back with you after we come out from this commercial. All right, we're back. Now you can complete, Ms. Margaret, if you would go ahead and finish what you were saying.
well, basically, we don't think that they'd have to necessarily widen everything if they didn't have that many homes. You know, we can
Okay.
tolerate probably a little, but again, the traffic right now is outrageous. They don't have a plan as to how to take the traffic that comes down Wild Heron up King George to get to the 204. It's backed up all the time, and especially in the morning and the evening. And it goes right past the school, which has a slow, you have to go slow. They have cameras there to get a lot of people who are going faster than 25. And and that's one of the reasons it's backed up too. It's very curvy and it goes in front of the school. So then they say, well, let's just go all the way down Wild Heron to Grove Point. So we're getting a lot more traffic here. It's dangerous even to get your mail. If you have to walk in the street there to get your mail, it's very dangerous. And what the builder is trying to do is at the dead end, again, we're a quiet community. So at the end of King George and Wild Heron, the builder wants to make a turnaround. So they want to make the road where it's a continuously moving. And well, how do you think the kids are going to cross the street to go to school from there when you have a continuously moving traffic? So
All right, and here's another question. This particular landowner has so much property. Why hadn't someone thought about another access road on his part now, thought about another access road to this property besides the Wild Heron Road? Because what you're saying is 300 homes and then adding some more, you might wind up with 500 pieces of property back there. And nobody's talking about another access road. 500 homes, that's a lot of homes to not have an access road to.
Well, they have one driveway in and out, and they're saying now that you have to have two driveways. Both of them would be on Wild Heron, because all around them basically is marsh. And, it's close to Shevitz Road. But right now they're not getting permission from the county to have that second driveway, which they'd have to have. But there's no other way to attach a road to that property unless you go all the way back into Bradley Point, and cut through there, which would really be a disaster. So, it's right on Wild Heron. There's no other way in and out.
And we have talked to the county and the city, and the county told us that they won't approve until they consider a second driveway. But that doesn't solve the traffic issues. That doesn't solve the sidewalk issue. That doesn't solve the crosswalk issues. There's an abundance of issues that just won't be solved.
It's for fire mainly. The second driveway is for police and fire to get in and out.
But that's just talking about Wild Heron into the property and out of the property.
Okay, well, recently, I've been noticing it's been taking about 10. I think it's pretty close to 10 feet when they be building sidewalks. It's about 10 feet that they take to create the sidewalk like it's supposed to be built. And if you're talking about building sidewalks, then that's another 10 feet of your property.
Right.
And if they're talking about widening the street, I don't know how big your lot is, but it's going to diminish about 20, 25 feet.
Yeah, and then we'll be able to shake their hands, whoever walks down the street.
Right. Right.
And we don't have sidewalks on this end. Now, there are some sidewalks on the one side that has homes down by Cherryfield, which is right across from where this property wants to be built. There are some sidewalks down there, but it doesn't come all the way down. Now, the original plan was to have sidewalks from all the way down Grove Point, Wild Heron, even all the way down Chevitz Road was supposed to be sidewalks. And nothing's been done yet. So we don't know what the plan is anymore.
Again, it's just 1.4 miles end to end, Wild Heron. And, 400 homes is an awful lot for much less they have other properties that they intend to build on. And it's just not feasible. But with the sidewalks, it's safer.
Yeah, look under.
And if they had crosswalks, it'd be much safer. If they had stop signs, even safer. So the county and the city really need to address that before they start building the properties.
Well, look at, it seems to me that there should have been, even before now, some collaboration between county and the city.
And yes,
to alleviate this problem. I know that they've had several incidents with the train tracks where people have been hit on the train track. But I know that train comes through there mighty fast.
Yes.
A lot of time they don't slow down coming through there. It's dangerous, and the safety of our people that stays in the community should be a number one issue. We should at least they should issue some kind of safety study or something in that area to make sure that everything that is being done is going to keep the neighborhood safe.
Well, the traffic study that was done by the builder, and it was somewhat bogus. They came out on a Saturday afternoon, which is not dense traffic then, and did traffic, and they accepted that as a traffic study. It wasn't fair. If they would come out on a Monday morning around 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and see all that traffic that is commuting to work and to the school, then they would realize it just can't sustain.
Well, it needs to be an independent company that does these studies for any of the ideas, because you can't have the builder do the studies, because that wouldn't be, he's going to do it to lean toward him. And, the builder is giving a lot of different facts and figures, but these are just stuff that he's pulling up. This is not what the county is coming up with. And it's just doesn't seem right either. There just seems like something's wrong where the MPC and the city manager is letting them pretty much get away with what they're doing. And they're more concerned about, oh, hey, we need more homes. Well, we do need more homes, but we don't need them all in one area. And again, tell me what you think is quality of life, because what we have out here for quality of life is a quieter area, and it's already bad. I mean, we moved here 10 years ago and it was so much different already. They've been building, and they're building in areas they weren't supposed to be building because they're building in marsh. So those people have very high insurance for flood insurance. It's very high because they know they're in a flood zone, and that was never supposed to be developed. So how these companies are getting away with just building is beyond me. And so right now we're having lots of traffic come through. We've had 2 people hit already in the past from traffic. They use it like a speed track. And we're sort of at wit's end as to what we can do next. And the builder was told to, again, meet with the public. We get the same stories. We're not getting anywhere with him. And he was supposed to come up with additional paperwork. And he said that he would have the paperwork ready for November 21st city council meeting, which is a Tuesday, because Thursday, where they normally have the meetings, is Thanksgiving. So again, it's like, okay, you're trying to have a meeting November 21st so that maybe the public won't come because they're busy with Thanksgiving or out of town. So we're trying to get that moved to January or later, because it just seems like, that was done on purpose. And this builder just has to have more respect for what we want instead of just padding their pockets.
And we really appreciate the live feed like yours, because it gets the word out. We're at wit's end. We really need the word out. It's happening all over Savannah. It's not just Wild Heron. It's everywhere that they're building, and building without planning. That's what concerns me.
Well, here's the thing, and it's houses being built, apartments being built, but nobody's thinking about those people who are less fortunate.
Right.
They are taking and putting these houses up. They're building them. They're making them so unaffordable, not affordable, unaffordable, till you can't do it.
Right.
You've got the Hyundai plant coming in. They're gonna bring in about 10,000 more people than we're gonna need. Probably more than that. And we're already in a deficit of housing for 10,000 people. So we're looking at 20,000 people without homes. And then on top of everything else, nobody can afford the houses. And what happens then? The houses sit when nobody can afford them. Then they are forced to bring the prices down. But while they are bringing the prices down, people are still suffering. We don't need our people to suffer. I think that the people, the powers to be, need to think before they speak. They need to not let money be the influence of what they're doing. They need to think about the constituency and what the constituency need. I'm not ashamed to make the statement. I've heard the statement. I've made the statement before. They did a tax increase on the hotels and motels downtown.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to create $30 million. But instead of putting that in the community, They're gonna put that on River Street. Now, I don't know about you, but $30 million on River Street, they can afford to pay their own way. We got people out here that can't even afford a drink of water, but you're going to invest $30 million on a place that's already thriving.
Well, look at Broughton Street. They
Right. I agree.
17 million. That could have been split up between the 6 counties, 6
District.
districts throughout the city, and would have helped abundance with the homeless, with the feeding, etc. You know, instead of spending so much money on lights and improving Broughton Street. That just bothered me. But that was the other council. It wasn't the current city council. It was passed by the last council.
I
But
agree. I agree, but here's the thing that I think about that a lot. Uh, Broughton Street, they deserted Broughton Street.
right,
They deserted Broughton Street because Broughton Street was the main street in Savannah for a long time, and they deserted Broughton Street when they built the malls. But then now you want to reclaim it. Somebody came in with the idea to reclaim it, and I've seen it done. I've seen it done in Wilmington, Delaware. They took the shopping area and redid it, and it's thriving. But you take one section at a time. Everything that's downtown now, they are trying to revitalize downtown when it shouldn't have been let go from the beginning. We have to invest into an area and let the merchants invest in the area. The merchants are doing nothing but getting fat. Let them invest in the area and do some of the work in the area. Not just us, of our taxpayer dollars. Let our taxpayer dollars do. They talk about our kids and how our kids are acting, and our kids do this and do that and do the other, and the crime in the area. But there's nothing for the kids to do.
right.
Open up some of the gyms that they have so the kids can have some place to go. Give them give them some protection at the gym so they can have some place to go, and then see that they can be able to get to and from their homes and back and forth.
Well, a good example is the YMCA. They closed the YMCA on the south side, and
Right.
it's been several years, and they haven't replaced it yet. We really need that for the youth in the south side, but I don't know. You know, they're talking about building apartments where the mall is, etc. That's when you need the YMCA and other events for the kids to play basketball, swim, weights, etc. But nothing is happening with that.
Right.
Well,
All right. We're going to have to take another quick break, and we'll be right back to talk about this and to close out. I sure appreciate y'all. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
I don't know. I reckon Robert will be back. He'll cue us in when he get ready for the break then. But like you said, it's many our areas that have facilities that are available that we could do something with our youth. A few years ago, the youth didn't have to buy their uniforms to play sports. They didn't
Right.
have to buy their equipment to play sports. It was furnished. No more. The youth got to pay for it. They got to get out in the streets and stand on the street corner with a bucket to try to get some of the equipment they need, to try to have some of the fun things that they need. They have to go stand on the corner. I tell you what, I wonder about, the thought process that we're going through of how our kids are supposed to mature to being real citizens if they can't have a childhood.
Mm-hmm.
That's important.
It
The
is.
childhood life is important, and they have to learn and have someone to show them the way. But we're not able to show them the way because there's nothing to show them. I think Miss Margaret, I think she knows. She's sitting back there looking. She's got something on her mind.
Yeah.
Well, I totally agree with you, and
The city needs to talk to the county.
everybody needs to talk to everybody. The city talks to the county, and the county talks to the MPC and the city manager, and everybody just needs to
And the
sit down and discuss this so that we don't have problems, with the schools and everything else, and enough police and enough fire. But when you were talking about these 10,000 people needing homes, they're bringing in a lot of people like from China and everywhere else that a lot of them can afford homes that are more expensive. So we need to have the jobs for the local people that also need the lower income homes, but we need the jobs for them too. And I don't think that they're going to be giving them the jobs as much as them bringing in people from the outside. And the way Savannah is growing, unfortunately, I think Savannah is going to lose most of its charm because it's just going to be another Atlanta. I mean, look at Bay Street now. You have nothing but trucks. So you have semis everywhere. And with these new warehouses popping up everywhere, you're going to have semi trucks running every direction you can. And I know from here, all the ones that need to go south on 95 are going to be cutting down Veterans Highway where they are to the 204 and taking, again, 204 to get to 95. And it's already backed up. What are we going to do with hundreds of semis coming in there? So,
well, we need to put out fires before they start, not after they're already ablaze.
Well, let me tell you this. Like you said, they're bringing Hyundai, but they're bringing 4,000. I know 4,000 of their people from China.
mm-hmm.
That's 4,000. They're supposed to be creating 8,000 jobs, but they bring in 4,000 people. So that's only 4,000 jobs. Now, if you go to the work sites throughout the city of Savannah, you don't find Chatham County tags at the work site.
Right.
You find Alabama, you find Texas, you find Florida, Louisiana tags.
Yep.
Their biggest issue that they're saying in Savannah is we don't have a big enough workforce. Our workforce in the city of Savannah is large enough that we have people spread out all across the United States and Canada simply because we can't get to work here in Savannah. There's times when our leaders need to sit down and think, what if that money is being spent elsewhere, is being spent here? When we pay these people who are working at the construction sites, they get their paycheck, they send their paychecks back home. They do not hold on and spend here in Savannah. What they do,
Mm-hmm.
they take their money back and back to their homes, and they leave them, and they leave it there. If our workers could work here at home, they could spend their money at home, and that would be a big boost to the city of Savannah. What's your thought on that, Rick?
Well, I agree with you, and I want to personally thank you for having this podcast. You go to a lot of effort, and things like this would not be on the air or not be televised if it wasn't for people like you. Uh, we will be at the city council. We will be at the county commissioners. We will try. We're not going to give up. We're tenacious. Try to make them understand that we really need common sense instead of just build, build, build.
Well, and what you were saying is we do need to have our people here in Savannah working. I mean, they're on the street begging, let's give them jobs. And if they need it, let's get them the education and the skills through the community college or through different companies to give them the skills to get these jobs, because that's who needs them. I mean, that's why they're building, they're building here, but we're allowing them to build here. We need to insist that the jobs first go to the community and then go outside the community to fill up the rest of the jobs.
All right, we're going to give y'all, both y'all, 5 minutes to close out with a closeout statement. If you want to, you can cut it shorter than that if you want to, but you've got 5 minutes to close out. Okay.
I'll let Margaret talk.
Well, we're glad you're doing this. We're glad you're doing this, and
it's important.
We hope this gets to the community to let them know that we're trying to get the city to communicate with the county and vice versa, and let's do common sense. And we don't need all the homes in one area. We need them all over, and they are planning all over, but like you said, they're not planning on building economical homes for people who need them. And they can build all the homes they want, and you're still going to have people on the streets because they can't afford a home. And I think in the long run, the homeless situation is going to get worse, because I think these builders are allowing other people to come in and get these homes, and there's going to be more and more people forced into the streets because they can't afford to live here anymore. And that's just creating another problem that we have. So we really want to try and make Savannah the best it can be. And there's a lot of roadblocks before that happens. So let's get everybody together and come up with a better master plan before they commit to things, and have it be a jewel of the South that it's supposed to be. And that's about all I have to say.
And thank you again for all your work on doing this, Jerome. It means a lot to us.
Well, we do what we are supposed to do As president of the A. Philip Randolph Institute here in Savannah, Georgia, we're at a bridge between labor and the community. We work to help wherever we can. Our podcast is called The Vulnerable Communities. We're on Our Black Network on Facebook. All you have to do is look for Our Black Network on Facebook, and it would you can see the podcast anytime you feel like it. But most of all, here at A. Philip Randolph, we're not just here to do podcasts. We have programs such as the Building Futures program, what you were talking about just a few minutes ago, Ms. Margaret. And what it is we take kids that are not going to college, and we take those kids and we try to give them a leap into the world by giving them training and the apprentice programs.
Mm-hmm.
We take them, we show them all the apprentice programs that we have available for them, and let them choose what field they want to go into. And as they choose that field, once they choose that field, we help them get into that field and make sure that they got a head start on everything else. When they get into the apprentice program, they've got a job and they're earning while they learn. And that's the biggest thing. And for kids that are in poverty, when you go from nothing to making $20 an hour, you've got to also teach them how to handle their money.
Right.
So we do all this. It's not just a fun thing that a lot of people say, well, all they do is walk down the street and hand out flyers and do this. No, we canvass the neighborhood. We talk about voter registration, voter education, but we also help our community. So we're there. We want to thank y'all for being a part of our podcast this morning. We hope that this is not our last time talking. We'll probably come back and talk again about some of the progress that is being made on your behalf. And y'all keep us informed of what's going on. I will be after a couple of weeks, because I'm going to be down for a couple of weeks myself. But after a couple of weeks, I'll be at the meetings right along with you. But until we do that, y'all have a great day. Y'all be blessed. God be with you, and we praying for you. And look forward to seeing all y'all again, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Jerome.
Like this.